Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Garak here, your casual gamer dad, coming at you guys with a patch review video. This is going to be a little bit of Diablo 4 content. Um, and unfortunately, this is not going to be a fun video. Ooh, I think I speak for a lot of the D4 community when I say we were very eagerly waiting this Thursday, July 20th, when Season 1 goes live for Diablo 4. And when we learned that on the 18th today, we were getting the patch notes ahead of time, and they were actually going to implement the patch, obviously, albeit not including some of the things that will only be around for season. We were all very excited and looking forward to what was going to happen. Now, we were prepared for nerfs, especially to the big meta builds. But I don't think we were prepared for what we have here. I will say I will still participate in season 1, whenever I have time. But uh, I'm not really looking forward to it, honestly. I'm very disappointed. I'm just gonna throw it out there. So we're gonna go down this list. We're gonna touch on the main things that I really want to go over. I'm not going to really touch on many of the bug fixes and quality of life stuff. I will touch on the class balancing that they did, and give my opinions mostly with Barbarian and Druid, because those are really the only two that I've leveled. And then the big one, which really is what kind of killed a lot of things for a lot of people, and I'll explain why in more detail. So first of all, they open up right now by telling us there's going to be new uniques and legendary aspects. Unique items can be obtained in World Tier 4, aspects can be obtained wherever. And they give us all 6 new unique items. So they have one general one, which is the Avarian Spear of Lycander. It's a unique staff. Gain a random shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds after killing an elite enemy. Can only occur once every 30 seconds. This is the new, like, Uber unique, as it says here, meaning it's like right up there with Shaco and Doombringer, where chances are you're gonna have to hunt forever. There is a new Barbarian unique. It's a unique sword. It's the Azarath. Lucky chance on lucky hit. Your core skills have up to a 20% chance to freeze enemies for 3 seconds and deal XYZ cold damage to them. Druid gets Flesh Render, which is a unique one-handed mace. Debilitating Roar and Blood Howl deals 0.5 to 1 damage to nearby poisoned enemies. Those numbers seem kind of, but I think they explain that down at the bottom here. Necromancer, they get the Lidless Wall. It's a unique shield. Chance on lucky hit while you have an active Bone Storm. Hitting an enemy outside of the Bone Storm has up to a 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional Bone Storm at their location. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses increases the chance by 25%, and the total number of additional Bone Storms by +1. That's a whole lot there. Rogue, they get Eagle Horns, unique bow. Penetrating shot has a 30 to 80% chance to fire an arrow that bounces off walls and scenery. Hitting enemies from behind with penetrating shot will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. Yeah. And Sorcerer, they get the Aki unique wand. You gain the effect of the teleport enchantment for free. When you evade using teleport enchantment, you are taken to a random location. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems kind of bad. You usually never want to be taken to a random location. I don't know, that seems kind of counterproductive, but I don't play Sorcerer, so what do I know? Yeah, here's the developer's note. Azarath and Flesh Render unique items have flat damage effects, which scale with power. For example, at 820 item power, Azarath will deal between 3,359 to 6,718 damage. My cat is right in front of my screen. She has picked now to try and be lovey-dovey. So yeah, I mean, those flat damage scalings are, I I guess they're alright. I'm not too entirely impressed. I'm trying to think how Azarath would fit into a build, but you know. And then we have 7 new legendary aspects. We have 2 general aspects. Audacity, which is a utility. When there are at least 5 close enemies, stun them for 2 to 4 seconds. This can only occur once every 20 seconds. I guess that's okay. That's not entirely terrible, I suppose. I mean, more CC is good, but it's very conditional. Like, you gotta have 5 close enemies, and it can only occur once every 20 seconds. That seems kind of. And then we have Craven, which is a mobility aspect. You gain 20 to 40% increased movement speed when moving away from slowed or chilled enemies. As somebody who prefers to play melee-based characters, this will probably be absolute garbage for me. Barbarians, we get Ancestral Charge. It's an offensive aspect. Charge calls forth 4 ancients who also charge and deal 50 to 100% of normal damage. I don't really use charge in D4, so I'm not sure how useful it is. This might bring it on the map to maybe make it okay, but yeah. Yeah. Druid, Subterranean. It's an offensive. It looks like all these are offensive aspects, so I'm not even going to mention that. But Subterranean, poison creepers active also cast landslide in a circle around you. Earth skills deal 10 to 20% increased damage to poisoned enemies. I don't know what the big deal about poison damage is, but okay, sure. Necromancers get Gorkwills. Blood Lance will consume blood orbs to also conjure lances from them. Each additional blood lance deals 20 to 50% of normal damage and prioritizes targeting unlanced enemies. I haven't leveled a Necromancer yet, so I'm not sure exactly what the mechanic behind Blood Lance is, but I hear at least before this patch, it was absolute garbo, and I have a feeling that this isn't really going to change it much. So y'all can feel free, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but Rogue Pestilent points. Every 3rd cast of Puncture is poison imbued with 100 to 150% of normal potency. Do not scratch me if I'm petting your tail. Sorry. Yeah, I don't play Rogue, so I don't know how useful this is. And then Sorcerer Searing Wards. After spending 200 to 100 mana, your next Firewall is free to cast and will destroy incoming small missiles. Again, I don't play Sorcerer, so I don't really know how useful that would be, but I have a feeling it's not really going to replace anything currently. And then we have a whole shit ton of bug fixes. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these. A lot of these are quality of life. A lot of these are bugs that have been outstanding for quite some time. You can see this is just like there's challenges, accessibility, co-op, dungeons. I'm not going to go through all those. I will leave a link here in the description down below if you guys want to see the full patch notes and see the things that I'm not covering. Click that link, get them done, have fun. But we are going to cover some of the gameplay bug fixes because these are important. Now, on the one hand, these kind of suck because it's like, well, was it really necessary to fix these because they increase damage to a ridiculous amount? But then on the other hand, it's like, well, these were bugs. They weren't intended in the first place, so you can't really be mad about them, but it's still a little sad. Excuse me. So starting off with the Barbarian, they fixed an issue where the number of enemies to defeat for the Barbarian class quest Masters of Battle was not displayed. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I did not encounter that, so okay. Fixed an issue where Iron Maelstrom could be cast more than 3 times rapidly, casting Warcry. Again, I have not played a Walking Arsenal Iron Maelstrom build. I was thinking about doing that in Season 1. I don't know anymore, but we'll see. So I don't really know what this was. But these two here, these two. This one I am a little iffy about. Fixed an issue where stacking Berserk Gripping, Skullbreaker, and Anemia aspects would allow the player to deal extreme amounts of damage. I don't know what the purpose behind this is, because to me, if you read the description of Berserk Ripping, Skullbreaker, and Anemia, they should synergize, right? Because, right, Berserk Ripping is when you're berserking, you deal percent amount of bleeding damage to your enemies. Anemia is stunning bleeding enemies, and then the Skullbreaker is if enemies are stunned and bleeding, they will deal X% of their bleed damage instantaneously instead of doing it over time. To me, that seems like that's what you would want. You would want to put all three of those together because they synergize. Now, I don't know if they were doing more damage than what should theoretically be calculated based on the percentages. I'd never tested it. I didn't actually use it. But if they're stating that, oh, these three weren't meant to be synergized, then they need to bring all three of those back to the drawing board because they definitely are designed to synergize. So I don't know what exactly is that. And I never even heard any talk of that being an issue. I don't think anybody was complaining about that. Not like this last one. Fixed an issue where the outer edge of the quakes granted to Hammer of the Ancients via Aspect of Ancestral Echoes was dealing far more damage than intended. This is correct. This was a big bug. Hoda hits hard. This made Hoda hit ridiculously hard. And the worst part about it, and this is how you knew it was a bug, is it happens only when you can manually aim Hoda. So like you hold shift and you just whap wherever. You can't do this on console. So console players weren't experiencing this bug, period, but PC players were, and we were doing ridiculous amounts of damage. Now, I never noticed it because I just never paid any attention, nor did I even really know about it until like a few days ago. So I'm not surprised that this got fixed, but I'm hearing reports that Hoda definitely got hit hard because of this. They do have a note here. We recognize this adjustment is a significant decrease to the Hammer of the Ancients Barbarian build, but we do not want its strength to be reliant on an underlying bug. And I mean, that makes sense. That's fair. So, yeah, okay. I don't remember. There really wasn't anything too noticeable about Druid. I don't want to waste too much time going through all of these. There are two I want to highlight for Druid, though. This one fixed an issue where enhanced pulverize would not remove itself while in town. I thought, because it was doing that in early access, I thought that they decided to make it just persist no matter what. Apparently they have decided not to, and that sucks. That's stupid. Bug or not, I think that should just be baseline. But now for all you wolf druids out there, all you storm wolves, this one fixed an issue where Stormclaw's aspect allowed Shred to do extreme amounts of damage. Congratulations, 1% top end content creating streamers. You have managed to get this nerfed into the dirt. I hear that Shred druids are now just like doing nothing. But it was a bug, so you can't really get mad about it. Seriously, it's like on the one hand you're like, this is stupid, but then on the other hand, it shouldn't have even been there in the first place. It shouldn't have been that bad. So we'll see. I suppose we shall see. Necromancer has a few. I don't see anything in regards to like Bone Spear's ridiculous damage, so must not be a bug. Rogue's got a few. I don't play Rogue, so I can't really speak to these. Again, check the patch notes in the link in the description below. Same thing with Sorcerer. I don't want to comment on either of these two because I do not play them. So general bug fixes, I'm gonna ignore those for now. Helltide and Fields of Hatred, same thing. Items and aspects, same thing. Monsters, same thing. All of these. Look at all these bug fixes, right? UI, user experience, quests, side quests, you know, miscellaneous. We're gonna ignore those. We don't care about load screen updates, whatever. Here we go. Now this is the meat and potatoes, guys. This is what I need to talk about the most. Gameplay updates. Okay, there's some good and there's some bad. And unfortunately, in the eyes of me and probably the vocal majority, which I know usually is the minority of the population, but in this case I don't think it is, of like Reddit posters and forum goers. You'll get what I'm talking about in a minute here. So general updates, Altar of Lilith unlocks are now account wide. I thought they were already, but I mean, if they're talking about the statues themselves, I guess, okay, sure. Map discovery is now account wide. That's pretty good. Whispers no longer reward sigil dust. Yeah, whatever. Overall loot quality has been improved for silent chests, so that's good. Channel time to leave dungeon has been increased from 3 to 5 seconds. I don't know what the purpose of this was. That seems kind of silly. I don't know anybody who's leaving dungeon before they clear the dungeon, so I don't think this is like a balance thing. That just seems dumb. We have generally reduced the tendency for monsters to move around in combat, so melee characters don't have to chase them. As a barbarian main, druid alt, I like this very much. As somebody who likes to play melee builds, I enjoy this. I think that's going to be good. Renown value adjustments have been increased, so side quests will now give 30, dungeons will now give 40. That's pretty good. If you have not done your renown farm yet, now is the time. That'll be really good. And plus the change is retroactive, so anyone who already did all of that but is still missing some renown, you'll get those extra few points. So they've made changes to the rewards for world tiers and how they work. So world tier 2 now gives 20% bonus gold as opposed to 15, and now it gets an additional 50% more items dropped from monsters. They say that they like where world tier 2 is, but they want they're looking to increase its reward pace. Well, it's fine. They've altered level scaling inside dungeons and overworld territories for tiers 3 and 4. Monsters are now going to be up to a maximum of 5 levels behind. This doesn't affect world bosses, legion events, fields of hatred, hell tides, or nightmare dungeons. This is just for normal dungeons and overworld territories. So in their dev note, they say they want to give players a better sense of their power progression and mastery over the world while still challenging themselves with structured endgame activities. Example here, for instance, we'll just go to World Tier 4. If a player's level is below 75, the monster's level will be 75. If the player is 76 to 80, they will be level 75. If they are 81, they will be 76. If they're 82, monsters will be 77, etc., etc., etc. On the surface, this seems like a pretty decent change, right? Right? But it's not. This is an attempt to give the player a false sense of power. Okay. So you know how in like Diablo 2, Diablo 3, we get to and I've got some things to say about Diablo 3 later, but we get to a point eventually with our characters, with our builds, where we go from like struggling just to kill zombies and the blood moors in Act 1 to absolutely just annihilating entire screens of monsters within seconds, right? We get that gradual up rev in power until we reach that peak, and then we just get to enjoy ourselves just absolutely dominating, being a walking god or goddess of destruction. They have gone out of their way with this patch to make sure we do not reach that point, but this here will make players who don't really like read into it too hard a false sense of obtaining that. But the problem is it's only in the overworld territories or regular dungeons, so you might feel powerful there, but then the minute you go to do Helltide or you go to do nightmare dungeons, you're right back to fucking square one. None of this takes effect. So you lose, you go from feeling like a walking meat grinder to just some adventurer bashing their face against monsters in hopes that they kill them first. It's not a good way to handle it. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not a good way to handle the feeling of up-revving in power. Despite their note where they say, oh, we want to give them a better sense of their power, this isn't going to do it. This is not the way to do it. They've altered experience rewards. Reward experience for completing whispers has been significantly increased. This is good. This is very good. Because this means that doing Order of Whispers at a higher level will be worth doing, because I'm going to be honest, I've never really done them. I just farm Nightmare Dungeons and the occasional Helltide. I mean, I also play super casually, but doing Whispers, once you hit 50 plus and you're in World Tier 3 or higher, there really wasn't any point. Now, the experience might make it better. They do have a note here. This is in regards to power leveling and people rushing. So basically, what people were doing is they would create a new character. They would join a group with a level 80 plus person. They would form a party with them. And the way phasing works is when you join a group, you join the same world as the party leader. So if the party leader is level 80 in World Tier 4, you get sucked into World Tier 4 even as a level 1 dude. So what people were doing was they were going and just going to higher world tiers at lower levels and just standing at the entrance of dungeons while the max level dude just ran through and annihilated everything, and they would just get tons and tons and tons of experience. I'm not going to read this whole thing here, but this is basically what they've done. They have lowered that tremendously, making it so that it's a lot harder to power level yourself. So they even give an example here. So you were level 1, your friends bring you to World Tier 4 and leave you at the entrance. They start killing level 100 monsters. Prior to the season, you would get level 100 monster XP times 1 plus 25%. Now, you will get level 11 monster XP times 1 plus 15%. They basically murdered it. They didn't want nobody racing themselves to max level. I mean, makes sense, whatever. Helltides. 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 Let me tell you a thing or two about Helltides. When you first get into World Tier 3 or 4, they were a good source of quick gear to upgrade yourself up to Sacred or Ancestral level and get yourself ready for that World Tier, right? And at first they were challenged, and then eventually, like anything else, they become cakewalk. Now, a Helltide lasts for about 1 hour. In that hour, I used to be able to use the whole hour and open all 4 mystery chests that would spawn by farming 175 cinders each time. It became easier and easier to the point where I could do it quite easily. You can't do that shit no more. So here's something. All right, they're dead. They're no. We're looking to increase the danger in Helltide's risk reward by making monsters a bit more challenging and the Tortured Gift of Mysteries harder to open. So monsters will now be 3 levels higher than the player instead of 2. Yeah, that's whatever. This one, Tortured Gift of Mysteries, has had its cost increased to 250 shards instead of 175. So if you want to open both, you have to farm both that are spawned at the same time. Mind you, you have to farm 500 shards in 1 hour. That's a tall order, because listen, under here it says all interactable objects have a small chance of dropping in barren cinders. Okay, fine, but players are reporting that they ninja nerfed the drop rate of cinders, where mobs would occasionally explode and drop like 10, 20 cinders, or like doing an event would get you like 20 to 30 cinders for doing the event. Players are saying they spend the whole hour and they can only get 250 once, and these are like level 90 plus players. So I think they've ninja nerfed cinders, and unfortunately people are also reporting that the Tortured Gift of Mysteries are not dropping anything worth it. They are dropping rares, they are not dropping legendaries, they are not dropping uniques. I wonder if they've nerfed that. So basically right now, until we get more news about this, Helltides are not worth doing, because they just murdered them. With this right here alone, they've murdered it, and that sucks, because they were kind of fun. Now we get into the real fun shit here. Balance updates. Oh boy. So there's a big old note. As our community continues to battle the burning hells, the builds emerging from new players have shocked and delighted us. Yeah, this is bullshit right here. It has been like, two meta builds max for each class. It doesn't shock anybody. We've chosen to focus Season of the Malignant's balance updates on clear itemization disparities over redesigns of class features. The class changes are largely focused on numeric increases to skill upgrades and legendary aspects that players haven't yet found compelling. Additionally, we're changing critical strike damage paragon glyphs to empower all damage instead of only core skills to enable more build strategies. That one's kind of okay. There are also a few class stat decreases on sources which grant extreme amounts of damage, healing, or unstoppable. In general, we prefer build-specific changes to be bonuses instead of decreases, but we feel these changes are necessary for the overall health of the game. And then they're just like, oh, this is a constantly evolving game. Yeah, okay, whatever, guys. Alright. Before I give my opinions on anything, I've got to read all these things. I'll read the highlights, okay? I'll only cover Barbarian and Druid, since those are what I play. So, Barbarian. Skills. Violent Double Swing has had its vulnerable duration increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Yeah, okay, I guess that's okay. Furious Upheaval damage bonus per stack has been increased from 3 to 5%. This one makes me kind of happy. It's not enough. It's not what's going to put Upheaval back on the map, but it makes me happy. Because now, if I'm not mistaken, this will stack up to 10, right? You will get a 50% bonus damage rather than 30%. So that's good. That's good for Upheaval. Upheaval's a fun skill. Power charge cooldown reduction is now capped to 3 targets for a maximum of 9 seconds of CDR. That's kind of especially when you see what I'm about to read. Tactical ground stomp fury gain increased from 25 to 40. This is nice. We like that. More fury, mo better. Enhanced death blows damage bonus to bosses has been increased from 100 to 150. Okay, we'll take it. Enhanced steel grasp vuln duration increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds. Yeah, okay. Enhanced rupture damage has been increased from 30 to 45%. Okay. I like that because I like rupture. Warrior's rupture attack speed bonus increased from 20 to 30%, and the duration has been increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Okay, sure. Fighter's rupture healing increased from 15 to 18% maximum life. That's small. It's not enough. It needs to be more. Passives. Hamstring now only slows healthy enemies. That right there kills it. That just makes me upset. And the slow amount increased from 10, 20, 30% to 20, 40, 60%. This is good. This is good. This is bad. Okay, because it's only going to slow healthy enemies. And then once they're not healthy anymore, it stops proccing. That's dumb. That's dumb. There was no reason to change this. None. This didn't need to change. This is okay. I like this. This sucks. Cut to the bone. Bleeding damage bonus to vulnerable enemies reduced from 6, 12, 18% to 5, 10, 15%. Unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary change to bleed. You don't need nerf bleed. It is fine. This was dumb. This was unnecessary. Paragon, Wrathglyph's bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. You're going to see this. Every class is going to have one of these. It's basically just saying, like, hey, anything that was, like, applying, like, critical hit damage or whatever is not just going to apply to just core. So, we can ignore that. Alright, aspects. Relentless Berserker's aspect, berserking duration increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Yeah, okay. Battle Mad aspect, berserking duration increased to 2 to 3.5 seconds. Okay. Brawler's aspect damage increased from 1 to 1.3 to 1.5 to 1.8. Okay. Burning Rage has been increased to 0.22 to 0.28. Iron Warrior damage reduction increased to 18 to 28%. That's pretty good. Why they would stop at 28%, I think that's dumb. Just give it the extra 2% to bring it to 30. That really bothers me, but I mean, that's a personal choice, so whatever. Slaking aspect, lucky hit chance increased from 30 to 5, 50% to 40 to 60. Yeah, okay. Ancestral Echoes has also been increased by 10% across the board, and Weapons Master aspect lucky hit chance went from 32 to 50 to 37 to 55. Small increases there, small increases. Alright, so the aspects are, I mean, they're all kind of neat. Not like game changing, but they're okay. And then 2 unique items have been edited. So Gore's devastating grips will now explode every 2 seconds or after it ends. So no longer like snapshotting your whirlwind. And its hit cap has been removed. So that's actually that's pretty good. Ain't the best, but it's okay. And then this one, Fields of Crimson bleeding damage bonus has been increased from 10 to 15%. I think that's okay, but it's not enough. It's not enough to fix that unique. So let's talk about Druid for a little bit. Druid skills. All right, enhanced claw attack speed bonus increased by 5%. Okay. Storm strike damage reduction reduced by 10%. That's bad. That's dumb. No reason for that. Boulder damage increased to 46%. Yeah, okay. Savage trample spirit gain increased to 40. We likey. That's big good. That's big good. We like that. Prime lacerate healing increased to 5%. I mean, more is better, so we won't say no. It's small, but okay. Cataclysm lightning damage increased from 64 to 77, and tornado damage is up to 23% now. So buffed. Supreme Cataclysm Von duration has been increased to 3 seconds. Cataclysm duration increased from 2 to 4 seconds. This one is bad. Prime Grizzly Rage now grants Unstoppable for 6 seconds instead of while active. There are a lot of builds that allow you to keep Grizzly Rage active almost permanently. Like, I would say about 80% uptime, maybe a little higher. Losing perma unstoppable is a big deal. That sucks. The amount of fucking CC in this game from enemy mobs is ridiculous. But I'll go in that in a different video. Passives. Provocation threshold required for guaranteed overpower has been reduced to 24, 20, 16 seconds. That's good. We like reduction on that one. Spirit boons. I'm not really gonna touch on these because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really paid much attention to the boons. I just kind of picked what sounded good and went with it. Oop, just whacked my microphone. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, these look good. I mean, maximum life increase, fortify increase. I mean, most of these look like they're good, so I'll say they're okay. Paragon I'm not gonna touch. So aspects. Most of these are bonus increases, so I won't really like touch on these too much because I don't want to waste too much time because there's a lot more to go over. These ones here, items, Insatiable Fury and Mad Wolf's Glee. For those of you who don't know, these are the chest plates that make you either perma werebear or perma werewolf. They grant pluses to your werebear or werewolf skills, obviously, and giving them +3 instead of +2. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that's not too bad. That's pretty good. Necromancer, Rogue, and Sorcerer I'm going to skip over entirely. You guys can check them out if that is your main and that's what you play. Let's go into the general highlights here. So Aspect of Disobedience got nerfed. Max stacks reduced from 100 to 60, reducing maximum bonus armor percentage from 25 to 50 to 15 to 30. This doesn't seem like it's a big deal. Like, oh, maximum stacks from 100 to 60, so like whatever, it's just 40 less stacks. But you go from possibly getting 25 to 50% to 15 to 30%. That sucks. That's a big nerf. That's bad. Aspect of Retribution bonus damage to stun reduced from 20 to 40 to 10 to 20%. That's bad. And I mean, you can see all of these are getting nerfed down. All of these are getting nerfed down. Like, what the hell? Why? Why? I don't understand. Anyway. Items. They have changed Butcher's Cleaver. The slow is now going to be ranging from 61 to 75% for all the good that does. I don't think anybody uses the Butcher's Cleaver, so whatever. And they've adjusted some drop rates. So they've increased the bonus to drop ancestral and or sacred items in Nightmare Dungeons up to 10%. They removed the 20% chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters outside of the nightmare dungeons and hell tides. That's kind of dumb. I don't understand why they would do that, but okay. They've increased the chance to drop extra equipment from elite monsters by 10% in nightmare dungeons. And Nightmare Dungeons now have a 50% chance to drop a second legendary upon completion. Nightmare Dungeons will now also give 3 rare items upon completion, up from 1. I don't know. I mean, in a game that's all about slaughtering monsters and gathering loot, you know, sure, I understand they want to drive more people to farming Nightmare Dungeons, because right now that's the main end game. But to remove killing monsters in the overworld from having the chance to drop an extra goodie, that's kind of dumb. You don't ever want to remove that shit, guys. Like, come on. They've increased monster HP scaling. It's a bonus per extra player in party, so if you play solo, it's just going to be a baseline 100% HP scaling, but let's see. They've adjusted the scaling of the Greed Shrine, which is whatever. World bosses now drop potions more often, whatever. No longer a limit on how many materials you can refine into higher materials at once. That's good, because before you could only do 20 at a time. Now you can do whatever the fuck you want, and that's good. It should have been that way from the beginning. I don't know why you would limit it, but hey, whatever. Now look at this. Look at this wall o text. Okay, this is what has everybody up in arms. It's not even the class changes. It's not even the aspect changes. It has nothing to do with the bug fixes. I mean, there are some people that are angry about the bugs getting fixed, but it's like, guys, these are bugs. What did you expect? This is what has everybody up in arms, and this is partially why I'm about really digging into season 1, because these changes to item affixes don't just affect 1 or 2 builds. These don't just affect the top meta builds. This affects everybody, everything. Okay, and you're gonna see why this is bad. Okay, now here. The dev note says many affixes are too efficient and are outshining alternatives. We're looking to refine the outliers, improve the number of meaningful choices on competitive slots, and increase the overall flexibility of items. We know these changes will reduce the total amount of possible power a character can possess, so we'll be monitoring how these changes affect players' ability to conquer expected milestones throughout the season. In other words, they say, yeah, we know we're purposely slowing down your guys' progression, and we don't fucking care. We're going to wait and see how angry you guys get, and then maybe we will change it back. Or we'll just slowly bring it up to where it was by piecemealing you. Oh, we'll increase it by 2%. Oh, we'll increase it by another 1%. It's like, guys, why did you touch it? Why? Why did you touch any of these? And you're going to understand why this is such a big deal as soon as I scroll down. Here we go, because there's going to be a lot. Don't scratch my chair. So we're increasing the availability of the affixes below to make them easier to include in different builds. Now, on the surface, this seems good, right? Control impaired duration reduction can now appear on pants. Who cares about that? Nobody cares about that. Barrier generation can now appear for all classes. It will also begin dropping later in the game. Okay. Lucky hit chance while you have a barrier can now appear for all classes. It reduced by 12% when on a helm, and by 20% when on an AMI or an offhand. Mastery skill damage, newly added, can appear on sorcerer weapons. Scales identically to core skill damage. Okay. And then resistance to all elements can now appear on shields. I mean, that one's kind of like, okay. Now, all of these are kind of like, sure. This right here, the core stat bonus on weapons has been overperforming, so we're pulling back. Strength, dex, int, and willpower were all 50% stronger when they were on weapons, right? I mean, you always wanted to have your main core stat on a weapon, or weapons in the case of barbarians, right? Because it just was good. They've hacked that all in half. they are now 25% stronger when they're on weapons. Why the fuck would you do that? Why? Why would you do that? It felt good. Like, it's hard enough to get gear with the rolls that you want. Now, and it felt great when you were like, oh man, I got that weapon that had like plus like however much, more strength or more willpower, and it just like really jacked up my power. It was great. It was awesome. It felt good. Now it's gonna be 20. It's only gonna be half of that strong, and it's not gonna feel that great. You're gonna put it on. You're gonna go, meh. Sure. Ooh, I gained a little bit of power. Ooh. Like again, I just said it not too long ago. I know they want to slow everybody's progression down. They want to retain players' attention and playtime by slowing us down, but nerfing our power to the point where we don't ever feel powerful is not the right way to do it. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna happen. I'm just saying that you're doing it wrong. Not like anyone's gonna see this or care, but still. And now this one, as a barbarian player who has played 3 shout builds, this one sucks. Cooldown reduction effects often felt mandatory due to their raw power. No, it's not often. They are mandatory. Just FYI. We imagine cooldown reduction will remain a highly desirable stat, but the penalty for not prioritizing it won't be as harsh. Are you sure about that? Because look at this. Cooldown reduction reduced by 30%. Bad. Imbuement skill cooldown reduction reduced by 30%. Trap skill, I don't know what this is. Trap skills cooldown reduction reduced by 30%. They're basically just taking cooldown reduction and they're going, it's going to be 30% less effective. So fuck you. Like, oh, okay. Cool. Thanks. Awesome. And then this one blows my fucking mind. We're seeing critical strike damage and vulnerable damage viewed as hard requirements for a build success. We believe this is a step towards allowing more builds to flourish and will continue to make changes in support of this goal. Crit strike damage overall reduced by 17%. Lightning crit strike damage, I don't know why they included that, but reduced by 17%. Critical strike damage with all the other stuff reduced by 17%. And then this one, vulnerable damage reduced by 40%. So they give us these attributes that they knew were basically going to be core usages to just about every single build, because there is no, oh, I'm going to be a tank build, or I'm going to be a support healer build. No, there's none of that. This is a fucking ARPG. You build damage and you kill stuff. This is what you do. This is what we do. This is why we play it. And they were like, hey, we're going to give you guys vulnerability status effect that you can inflict, which will do a flat base, a baseline 20% increased damage to your enemies because you just like crush their armor and they're vulnerable. Cool, right? Awesome. Oh, by the way, you get vulnerable damage. If you jack that up, you'll do even more damage to people when they're vulnerable. Oh, fuck. Should have thought about the implementation of that if you didn't want it to become powerful and like mainstay. And I mean, if they didn't know from Diablo 3 that critical strike damage was going to be a #1 priority stat, then they just have not learned their fucking lesson. This makes me angry. This one makes me angry. Like, this is dumb. This is dumb. Dumb. And they are getting so much flack for it. They will continue to get flack for it. I don't think anyone's going to not bitch at them about it. Okay. Rant over for now. Disparities in different and inherent affixes can rule some weapons out before the rest of their stats are even rolled. These are receiving harsher reductions from their normal affix counterparts to increase weapon flexibility. I mean, this is just like, so for instance, if you have swords, you know how they just inherently have crit strike damage on them? And like vulnerable damage on crossbows, stuff like that, right? Overpower damage on two-handed maces. Well, the swords, the crossbows are reduced by 50 and 60%, 65% respectively. Cool. Awesome. Damage bonus to CC'd enemies was overperforming relative to the ease of activating it versus stricter crowd control type specific affixes. So they've nerfed those. Damage to crowd controlled enemies down by 30%. Damage to frozen enemies down by 20%. Cool. Now, this one has me a little confused, but let's read the developer's note. So we have seen that skillful players are frequently slaughtering monsters many levels above their own. We want to support this, but the current situation is beyond what we believe is correct for the long-term health of the game. To chase this goal, we're shifting power to many offensive fixes from defensive fixes. We know this will make our endgame more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss, an encounter not meant for the faint of heart. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of grit you can muster and all the tools at your disposal. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community and make changes to our combat mechanics. So it looks like, so these are stats for the players, right? So basically everything offensive, right? Physical damage, fire, elemental damage, damage over time. So that's like bleeds or shadow damage or whatever. Or I guess fire damage would be included in burn damage. Poison damage, right? Oh no, that's up there too. Poison damage. But basically, these are all increased by 25%. These are all increased by 40%. Just raw affixes for damage with specific weapon types have all been increased 25%. Different skill damages, so like brawling for barbarians is up to 33%, or like bone for necromancer up by 25%. They're increasing a lot of offensive stuff. But then take a look at the defensives. Okay, total armor. So if you roll something with total armor, it's now going to be 30% less. If you roll something with total armor while a werebear or a werewolf, if you're a druid, reduced by 25%. Damage reduction from close distant enemies, down by 20%. Damage reduction from bleeds, reduced. Burning, reduced. Poison, reduced. Shadow, reduced. And damage reduction while fortified, reduced by 25%. So they basically said, hey, we're going to let you guys do theoretically more damage. Kind of. But we're going to absolutely murder your defenses. So that is my overview of these patch notes. Again, like I said, I'll put the link in the description down below. Now, I have not extensively played these this version of the game yet. I'm not going to until season goes live. I'm taking a few days off from D4. I'm gonna try and theory craft and formulate, a build for whatever class I choose to play before the end. But I gotta say, I'm not impressed. I'm partially angry. I think they can see that, especially with certain upcoming titles that are coming out, they can see that their player base is rapidly dropping, unfortunately, because they do not have any variety in the end game compared to where they could be. Their unique items are not that great. Like, there are some builds, like for instance with druids, that rely on uniques. But outside of that, all of the uniques, outside of like say like the Harlequin crest and really just that one, they all fall off when you get closer to level 100. And the uniques that they have added, I'm not impressed with personally myself. Not very impressed with the new aspects. Not impressed with the balance changes for the classes. I was hoping to see Double Swing get a little more love. I was really hoping to see Upheaval get a lot of love. I was hoping to see generators like Frenzy get some love. I guess right now only time can tell. But I gotta say, like, this right here, the whole thing with the item affixes is dumb. It is dumb. There was no need to nerf core the strength of core stats. There was no need to affect cooldown reduction, because you can only get CDR on 2 pieces of gear. You can only get it on your helm and your amulet. And if either one of those happens to be unique for whatever build you're playing, That's one gone. Absolutely no reason to nerf this. No reason to nerf vulnerable damage or crit strike damage. Like, that got just about every build out there. Every build, every future build. Because those three affixes, those three stats are just so useful. And they were like, well, we don't want you to focus on that. And I was like, well, then why fucking give them to us? Right? Like, I don't know, bro. But as infuriating as this is, before I shut this video down, I know this is going to be like an hour-long journey, but before I close this video out, I just want to remind everybody that when Diablo 3 came out, and now this is coming from me, who has played from the days of Diablo 1's release all the way up to now. Like, so I have seen my share of Diablo games. Diablo 3 did not have a great launch. It did not have a great first, I want to say, almost year of its life. If y'all remember, okay, before they revamped how Torment works in D3, before there were Greater Rifts, before there were Nephilim Rifts, before there was any end game other than just running the goddamn campaign over and over again, you would clear Hell, and then you would go into Torment. There were no levels of Torment, it was just Torment. And if you were not a Sork, Demon Hunter, I think that's it. If you weren't a Sork or a Demon Hunter, you could not even clear Act 1 on Torment. Because it was just so weak. Barbarians were the worst. The worst. I had a friend, one of my friends, he rolled Demon Hunter. I remember back in the day, and he was already up in like Act 4 in Torment. And I couldn't even, like, I could barely kill the Butcher in Act 1 on my Barbarian. And I had better gear than he did. So it was rough. It was rough. So I'm not trying to say like, hey, I'm holding my breath and eating like opium here, you know, or drinking the hopium. But let's give it some time. After season 1, I know it's going to be a while, but after season 1, maybe they will see the error of their ways and start doing things a little bit more positively and stop trying to retain their audience by slowing their progression and realizing that doing that is not the right way to retain their audience. One last thing I do want to say too is about their class balancing ideas and methodology is they're doing it wrong. Diablo is an action RPG that is primarily played solo. Okay, it is primarily played solo. You cannot balance the game based on the idea that it is a multiplayer game in a semi-pseudo MMO style, and that's what they're doing. That's why they're doing all this shit. They're like, well, these like few builds are providing, you know, are going crazy when they stack all this stuff up. So if we just nerf it, then everyone's on the same page. It's like, well, no, that's not how it works. This is not an MMO. Don't be like, well, in this situation, these classes are doing all right with these builds, but you know, everyone else isn't doing so great. And you know, if they join up in a group, dude, trust me, like nobody's joining up in a group, man. Nobody's doing it. So let's see what happens. Maybe there can be some good to come out of this, but otherwise, I'm gonna say I'm kind of thumbs down on this, man. I'm thumbs down. But we'll see, guys. I do apologize for the lack of content. Hopefully I can get some more out before the end of the month, but I'm going to sign off because this is a long video and it is 60 minutes almost. So I'm going to just log off here and be like, see ya. So y'all have a great night. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more from my channel or get notifications whenever I do manage to post something up, or on the rare occasion get to go live here on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. Help my channel grow and motivate me to keep making content for you guys. Other than that, guys, thank you very much as always, and I will see you in the next video.